Hello, welcome back to Karting One. Before I begin today, please check out the Teespring store. We've got some merch on there. You can see me here modelling it. If there's anything on there you like, please check it out. Every sort of penny goes towards the projects that I do at Karting One and got coming up. So hopefully they look cool. And if you do get some merch, please take a photo, send it to me on social media, and I love to see that kind of thing. So check it out. Also, massive shout out to my Patreons or patrons listed here. Obviously, we've got the Budget Kart Challenge coming up. Needed a new axle because I'd found like a little crack or a hairline crack on the last one. Without those guys, I wouldn't be able to get the axle, get the bits and bobs we need to make sure that we're all ready for the big race coming up in the summer. There's a link below if you want to be a patron. Literally every penny counts, and I can't stress how much the support means to me and what we're trying to do at Karting One. Also, I made a sort of announcement on there, my plans for next year. I'm already regretting it. So you can find out more about what I've got planned for next year. It's going to be cool. So yeah, that's the next thing. So if you want to check that out, check out the Patreon page. And also, if you're not really into Patreon and that kind of stuff, there's a PayPal link below for donations and that kind of stuff. And as you can see, the Budget Kart is indoors at the moment in the office. So we ain't playing. We really do mean Budget Kart Challenge. So it's right on my head. So yeah, if you want to do a PayPal donation, any penny, anything is appreciated. So thank you very much. And I also wanted to do like a quick shout out to the Racebox. These guys do a lot of onboard videos of like top drivers and stuff, and they follow the international stuff. And I think they're trying to do some more independent videos as well. And they've got like a buy me a coffee thing. So I think they've got that linked on their Facebook page, and I'll link it down below because I think, if we can spread the love a bit, I mean, I'm all for helping and supporting other channels and what other guys are doing, because I think collectively, if we start doing more stuff, it's better for everybody. So yeah, if you watch any of the Racebox's stuff, check out their Buy Me a Coffee page, and I think it's like $1 or $5, whatever it is. And I think, I don't think I can stress enough how much it means to me and to stuff like that when people sort of sign up to these sort of pages. So yeah, thank you very much, and let's crack on with the video. So I wanted to do a video. I don't really like talking about personal achievements or personal things. I prefer talking about the grand picture of karting and that type of stuff. But it's 10 years since 10 years. That's scary. Since we entered the British Karting Championship, and I wanted to talk about how basically I got that drive. And it was effectively like free. And a lot of people, obviously, they look at that sort of level of, and it was KF we were racing in. So it wasn't like what it is now, where the British Championship, I guess, is a dilution of what it used to mean, But so it wasn't just like entering a TKM thing or Rotax. It was the full beans. It was the motorsport, or at the time, MSA British Karting Championship, right? And I sort of wanted to explain how I got the drive. I say got the drive, it was more like making deals with people. And I hesitate to use the word free. I've never used it in the title. But for those that want to try and make a career out of motorsport and get sponsors, you're not really getting stuff for free. There's an exchange of value in place. And I wanted to go through it and how the whole thing unfolded. Because I think, it was what we ended up doing was like getting a drive that was probably worth thousands of pounds, but leveraging different things and the exposure and all that, we managed to sort of get all the costs covered until the end, when I crashed and wrote off the kart, which then it did cost me money, because of course I didn't have a clause that says if I crash the kart and write it off, that's your problem. So, first of all, I want to explain why we entered the British Championship. It was in 2011. It isn't the first time that I actually tried to race at British Championship level. Back in the day, this will be alien to some of the listeners and watchers. You had to actually qualify for Super 1. right? And the British Championships, it wasn't something you just entered like it is now. So I tried to enter. When I was a kid, I was like, when I was like 10 or 11, we tried to qualify for Super 1 British Championships in cadets, and I didn't qualify, but we gave it a go. But that was like in 96. So fast forward, and it's 2011, and Karting 1 at the time, I guess, was when we were sort of at our peak, I guess, because we still had that novelty thing going, and we were trying to do things. And it was 2011, and what I'd done is in 2010 I'd started F100 at Rye House, right? And I guess the beginnings of doing stuff like that starts at Rye House and F100 when I decided to sort of bring back 100cc racing to sort of, I guess it was MSA competition at the club. And so basically it was 2010, we got that going at the club, we had a few races under our belts, and then I sort of decided, when the British Championship at the time, which was KF, basically KF really kind of nuked British elite karting in a sense. I guess maybe you could make the argument that the trajectory was going that way anyway, but moving towards those engines really, really nuked national competition in this country. It was a disaster. KF was a disaster. We knew it was going to be a disaster. We kind of gave it a go, and then it didn't work out. So basically what happened is the British Champs, and I guess it's confusing because now the MSA run the British Championship. Back then it was run by Super 1. And that was the sort of the heritage name, really. Like, you go and do Super 1 and you want to do the British Championships, and they ran that title. But that year I don't think there was enough entries to get like a full championship year, so it was decided to be a one-off meeting. So it was one race, I guess, like the World Championship is now. It's a winner-take-all affair. And I decided, it actually coincided with the extension at PF, actually, so it was all kind of cool that basically, the first race of the new extension at PF was going to be the British Karting Championship. So it all fell quite nicely, and I was sort of thinking to myself, I don't know what came over me. I thought that would be quite a good thing to enter, because at the time I thought the British Karting Championship, because it had been lost in a sense, and it was something that we kind of, as a sport, we don't, like I say, have reverence for championships and drivers. And for me, it was like, mate, we really should make more of the British Championship as a thing, because I ran Karting 1 at the time, and it is, you're searching for stories, and you're searching for like a narrative and a meaning to what you do. So I felt British Championship was worth saving. It was worth shouting about. So the best thing I could do, I guess, was enter and decide to compete. And I can't really remember my exact thought patterns, but it was like, I've got Karting 1. I talk about all this all the time. Why don't I just give it a shot? And I've done, obviously I've been doing a few races of F100 at Rye House, which we'd started there. And I realised, my pace wasn't too bad. I was very rusty, but occasionally I'd put in some quick laps. So I wasn't like thinking I'm going to be horrendously off the pace. I knew I was going to be way off the pace, but I didn't think I was going to be so inept. Which I kind of was in the end, if you crash and right off the cart. But I decided, it'd be a good thing to kind of promote the British Championship, and it sort of fell in line with what I was trying to do with Karting 1. So we made the decision, and like, I know, we're probably about 10 minutes into this video, but the reason I'm doing the video is I want to sort of kind of help inspire people to look at karting and see opportunities that they may not realise are there. And I guess we all get so lost in this world of karting and moaning, we don't realise actually we've got something really cool, and some of the people involved are really cool people, and they will help you out if you've got a good idea and it works for them. So I had to sort of, it must have been going into the summer of 2011, because the race ended up being like the 1st of October in 2011. So we're going into the summer, and I decided to do it. So I start, emailing a few people, because I realise at this point I have two decisions to make. I either spend all of my money racing with someone I know, or I try and sort of do some deals with teams and engine builders to see if I can get something sorted with them. And so in the end, I got I got a chassis from Ricky Flynn that he lent me to use. I got engines off of Bob Asteel from Cartoon. I got awning space in the AIM Motorsport tent with Steve Lake, and John Hoyle helped support me on entries and tyres, right? And like you look back and it's kind of, you forget about it. You think what an amazing thing that they did, because at the time it wasn't me just going, I want to race the British Championship and I think I'm going to win. It was a chance for us to celebrate the British Championship because it was a one-off meeting, right? So, you know, I spoke to them and I think they got what I was talking about. It was something worth saving. It was something worthwhile. And I guess looking back, like you look at all the other drivers that competed, and I think Tom Joyner ended up winning. It was interesting because obviously they were so focused on their own racing and trying to win, and like I had the opportunity to come from it at a different angle where I was going, I'm not going to win, I'm going to sort of promote the idea of the British Championship should be celebrated and everybody should aim to be the British champion. And obviously at the back of my mind I was thinking, what if it rains, I go on slicks, everyone goes on wets and I end up winning. So even just being on the circuit, you had a chance to win it. So one-off meeting, like anything can happen. So that was that. I mean, it was, yeah, looking back, it goes to show that like I didn't have to demonstrate to these people that I was fast or anything like that. They knew from my F100 that organising that at Rye that, you know, if you're someone that does stuff and makes stuff happen, they become worth supporting. And I stress this to everybody who's kind of looking for opportunities to do stuff, and like, don't always focus on the racing, focus on the bigger picture. What are you trying to achieve? Are you trying to help other people? Are you trying to promote something? Are you, you know, that kind of stuff really does matter, because for me, promoting the sport as a whole has always been the main motivator. And I'm getting at an age now where I'm doing stuff with Karting One, and I'm going to try and do the budget kart. Well, we're doing the budget kart challenge this year. We've got something cool planned for next year. But, you know, it'd be nice to see some young guys, because I'm 34 now, you know, you want some guys in their early 20s sort of giving it a go themselves, you know, and the opportunity is there. You just got to think a bit laterally. So, but, you know, in addition to doing that, to doing the championship, and I'll tell you how it went. It was a kind of disaster in the end. But what was also cool is someone that raced me in F100, he ended up sponsoring me like an extra £300, and I ended up linking to his business on the website, Karting One. So, you know, I got an extra bump of sponsorship as well. And again, it's not like I was going to win. It was that I had people that liked what I was doing, and they're some of the coolest people you'll ever meet, and they wanted to support the project as well. So it was kind of really cool in that sense, you know. And obviously, like, Ricky Flynn lent me a car. Bob Asteel lent me the engines. Steve Lake lent me the awning space, and obviously John Hoyle sorted me out with entries and tyres and helped support there. Like, it is so easy to kind of point fingers in this game and say, you know, everyone's trying to make money and it's all about money, but these people, and there's not just them, they do want to support the sport, you know, and maybe I didn't give them true credit at the time. I guess you get swept up in it, but I look back and I think that's really cool. How cool was that, you know? And so I ended up racing, and basically I tested with Laurie Curran in the Maranello a few weeks prior, and that was, we reviewed the Maranello, I think, and I tested the KF2 around the old circuit, and that's pretty much all the testing I had, was about a few sessions in the KF2, and on the, I can't remember what tyres we used. So yeah, I mean, I knew I was up against it, and I've been training a lot, and you know, trying to race the British Championship without any testing really, bar one day in a KF2 is not the best prep in the world. But the Friday practice went okay. You know, we circulated all right. You know, it was I think I was about a second to a second and a half off around PF. And that's sort of kind of where I stayed. But physically, I was just deteriorating through the weekend. My hand started all blistering up. And I'd spent like weeks filing my hand to make sure that all the skin had hardened up and that. But it did work, but it didn't fully work because you get these little blisters that you can't really prepare for. So going into the Sunday, the heats, I think it was the third heat. And, I had a few good heats. The starts were good, lunging people and causing them a nuisance. I'm like the nightmare, really. The guy that didn't have a pace, but first lap, you got front brakes, you can just go in on anybody. So we had a few good little battles at the start. And then I think in the third heat, I was just circulating. I went to the first hairpin and I went in quite shallow on the front brakes, and the kart went zoink, went on two wheels, and then it threw me into the marshal post and I wrote off the kart, which was quite funny, really, when you think back. And then I had to pay for that. So I didn't come out of the whole thing without spending money. If I hadn't crashed, it would have been fine. But I just wanted to sort of talk about like this in kart racing at the moment. I want to plead with young drivers. So granted, these opportunities may not be as prevalent nowadays because it's a lot more difficult. But I kind of wanted to really tell people that the opportunity is there. I mean, I don't have the sort of, I don't have the opportunities now that I did then, to some extent, because you have more responsibilities and that kind of stuff. But at the same time, like, we have such it's like an open goal. I keep talking about motocross or supercross and the AJ Cantazanos and the Jeff Walkers and even the top guys. They're doing like Anderson, or is it Axel Hodges? I can't remember his name. Does the cool stuff with Monster. The sport karting is there for the taking, and I'd really encourage people to sort of get in on that. We don't have a British Championship anymore. I know we have the British Kart Championship. We don't have a British Karting Championship anymore as a singular force, which I think is a shame. But I just wanted to say that if I can do it, if I can get something like that sorted, and and I think the kart itself had the potential for like a top 5 or whatever. There was nothing wrong with the kart. Like, you just think this is amazing, and hopefully if you're watching this, you kind of think, actually, do you know what? If Al can do it back then, maybe I can do something now. Trying to think outside of the norm of what's possible, and karting has those opportunities for you. If you really have something to sort of give to the sport. I think that's the main lesson. What I was trying to do was not trying to race. It wasn't Alan Dove racing at the British Championship. It was Karting One trying to promote the British Championship. And I look back and of course Super One lost the British Championship, and Motorsport UK have their reasons. But I look back and I go, I give credit to John and helping me out and sort me out. Because it wasn't plain sailing before that, if you followed what happened back then. But I give all those guys credit, and it's something quite cool that I look back on and think wicked, And maybe in the next episode I can talk about F100 and how we got that started at Rye House, and all the stories that went on there. But yeah, thanks for watching. Please check out the Patreon page below if you want to support the channel. I've got a new axle in this car. It's in the office, as you can see. Every penny helps. PayPal, whatever. Teespring if you want to buy a t-shirt or whatever. And yeah, check out the Racebox as well, because I know those guys are looking for support as well. So send them a couple of dollars if you can. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.